possible we can see some plea deals at 3 p.m.? That's actually a good question. Honestly, that's what me and my editor were working on today, because I didn't think we had court today. But there are so many issues with these plea deals, right? So we have copies of all of them. I was literally going to look at each one and talk about how they were different, right? So we are working on some content for you guys on that one. But as far as these 6 defendants, I did hear Sylvia say that some of them were entertaining the idea of plea deals. So it's possible that we can go from 6 to 3, because if I were to predict, I would say that Thug is not going to take one, Shannon's not going to take one, and Yak wouldn't take one. Those are just my predictions, because, you know, Shannon and Yak have some pretty serious charges. But even with Thug, you know, we talked about this a lot last week, Lead. Brian's probably going to want to fight it.
Yeah.
You know, so the other 3, it is possible that we could see some deals from them, but we're still not sure, right? We were hoping to get some answers this morning, but we don't have them yet.
The plea deals were flying fast and furious. Would y'all accept a plea deal in this case? It would depend on what the plea deal is, right? If they gave me disorderly conduct, $1,000 fine time, sir, I would take it. If I'm Young Thug, yeah, give me obstruction, but don't stick me with a felony though, because I need my guns. You know, I don't need this 4th Amendment waiver bullshit. Don't stick me on no probation, right? Because I need to smoke my weed and the lean and all of that.
The lean and all of that.
I need to get it in. That's the problem when you're a felon, man. They don't let you get it in like that. They don't let you carry guns or nothing. Guys, and I know this is hard for y'all to accept sometimes, but there are times when you are innocent and it is better for you to take a plea deal. Let's assume that Young Thug in this case could spend, if he's found guilty, could spend the rest of his life in jail. Or the prosecution, and let's also assume that Thug is completely innocent, but let's assume that the state comes to him with 1 count of obstruction of justice, 1 count of disorderly conduct, 2 misdemeanors. Even though he didn't obstruct, and he didn't, what did I say? Obstruction and, what did I say? Resisting or disorderly conduct. Yes. Even though he didn't do either one of those, it's still in his best interest to plead guilty to these, to not have to keep going with this trial. And so many times, guys, especially if you're a minority, or especially even if you're white and you don't have the funds, people plead out every day to charges that they are not guilty of, because they get overcharged by the state. You know, the state will say, okay, we're going to lock you up for 15 years, or you can plead out and get out today. Some people are like, shit, man, just let me out today. So there are circumstances where Young Thug, in my opinion, should absolutely plead out. It just depends on what the plea deal is. If Fannie comes to Young Thug and says, okay, I want to plead you to 2 felonies, time served, you know, you got to turn over your guns. Like, I ain't doing that shit, because I'm winning the trial anyway. We're winning anyway. And somebody, shout out to Boss Beat Glam Boutique, mentions Moontunk. Man, shit. Moontunk on damn probation for 28 years. You might as well go back to prison right now. There's damn near 10,000 people in this chat. None of you could do probation for damn 30 years. You cannot. Yeah. All you're doing is delaying the inevitable. Either you can go back to prison right now, or you can go back in 2 years, 5 years, and shit. Moontunk, 5 years in prison. He ain't gonna do the whole 5, but guess what? Guess what? When he comes out, he's still gonna have 23 years of prison left, probation left. What does that mean? None of y'all can do 23 years of probation. It means he's going back. No one's talking about that. When Moontunk comes out of prison, he's going back. Is that a slight against Moontunk? No. What does that mean? It means probation is a trap. Can you do 1 year of probation? Yes. Can you do 2 years? Yes. Can you do 3 years? Nah. Can you do 28 years? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Doing 28 years on probation is impossible. This is the first time we were introduced to Chief Assistant Attorney Adrian Love. Let's see what the hell she's talking about.
that person, if they're gonna. But other than that, I think we've covered everybody else. Unless there's an exemption. Do you have an exemption to the sequestration?
Here we go. Shout out to Carl. Says,
now,
what the court say?
This is the law of the jungle.
Now listen to this bullshit.
Oh my God. It's all coming back now. This is like from the Jungle Book.
30 black men on trial. Her opening line is, this is the law of the jungle. 30 black men on trial. Just say it, love. Say what you mean. Just come out and say, there are 30 black defendants on trial. This is the planet of the apes. Fulton County is the planet of the apes. Say it.
Oh my God.
Just say what the fuck you mean. The law of the goddamn jungle. The fuck is wrong with you, lady? There are white people on the jury. Just what are you talking about? Come on.
They said lead has gone off the rails.
Come on. Just say what you mean. Let's listen to this BS. Jesus Christ.
Now, this is the law of the jungle, as old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that shall keep it may prosper, but the wolf that shall break it must die. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk, the law running forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
This lady's terrible.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient. Thank you so much for being honest during this very lengthy process that preceded this point here today during the voir dire process. I appreciate you all being here, exercising your civic duty, and honoring your obligation to pay close attention to what's going on in this courtroom for the next several, however many weeks. Some people like to say that opening statements are a roadmap to what the trial will show. Instead, I'm going to give you an overview, a bird's eye view, because you're going to be sitting here with evidence for the next several weeks at least. And you will be able to see what that evidence is. Nothing that I say to you during this part of the trial, nothing any other attorney says to you during this part of the trial is evidence. But I can tell you what I expect the evidence to show. And what I expect the evidence to show in this case is that YSL, the group made up of the defendants sitting before you today, along with other both indicted and unindicted co-conspirators, YSL operated as a pack. The quote that I read to you earlier is from one of my favorite books as a kid, The Jungle Book. In case anybody recognized it, those were Rudyard Kipling's words and not mine. But they are appropriate for where we are today.
This fucking lady, man. The words that I just read to you, this from my favorite movie called Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes. I didn't write it. I'm just, it's my favorite.
And it's not funny because this is not a game. These people are in jail. Yes. You're talking about your favorite childhood book.
I like Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss. What the hell is wrong with this lady? Big
Green eggs and ham.
Big shout out to goddamn DC Metro. Says you guys got me laughing on a Monday morning. Positive vibes to kick off the week. Yes, we need some positivity. We absolutely do. People are going through it in their lives, man. Thugs going through it. They're not even letting us in the courtroom. Who knows? Something's going on. Something bad is going on if they're not letting us in the courtroom. So we don't know. So we absolutely need some damn positivity. Let's get back to the goddamn Planet of the Apes. Big shout out to DC Metro.
For 10 years and counting, the group calling itself Young Slimelife
Thank y'all for shouting DC Metro out.
dominated the Cleveland Avenue community of Fulton County. They created a crater in the middle of Fulton County's Cleveland Avenue community that sucked in the youth, the innocence, and even the lives of some of its youngest members. Now, the evidence is going to show that this group started out as a group called Rock Crew. And Rock Crew stands for Raised on Cleveland. The evidence is going to show you that Rock Crew, in fact, is a criminal street gang. It's not the kind y'all are used to. If you're more familiar with the national gangs, such as the Bloods and the Crips that operate in LA or in Chicago. But make no mistake about it, Rock Crew is and was a gang. It consisted of 3 or more members with common identifiers, signs, colors, linguistic choices that committed crimes on behalf of and in furtherance of Rock Crew itself. That particular organization aligned itself under an umbrella of a larger, more traditional street gang called Sex, Money, Murder, Bloods. They adopted the nomenclature. They would do things like replace C's in words with the letter B, because traditionally Crips and Bloods were not aligned with one another. So Cleveland Avenue became Cleveland. Some of you may have indicated during voir dire you've heard or are familiar with the Cleveland Avenue area. Maybe you've even heard of Cleveland Avenue Day. The evidence will show that this is where that comes from. The evidence will also show that sometime in 2012 or thereabouts, an internal rift or divide occurred among the members of Rock Crew. Now, the defendant, Jeffrey Williams, seated back there yawning right now, he was an original member of Rock Crew. And the kind of crimes that Rock Crew did consisted of smash and grab burglaries, stealing ATM machines, things of that nature. When Rock Crew split up, YSL, or Young Slimelife, was formed. And the defendant, Jeffrey Williams, was its proclaimed leader. Young Slimelife came about and consisted of 3 or more people when it began. 3 or more people who were willing to and who did commit criminal street gang activity, that is crimes, that were intended to further the purposes and advance the directives of YSL itself. Now, there will be no evidence of a written contract or anything like that. You won't see bylaws of YSL, because this was a group of people associated, in fact, who used common identifiers, common names, common colors, common symbols to communicate with one another and to express themselves to the rest of the world. So YSL, as the evidence will show, they didn't move individually. The members and associates of YSL, they moved like a pack, with the defendant Jeffrey Williams as its head. You'll hear from witnesses, both law enforcement and lay witnesses, who personally experienced and who personally witnessed the activities, the crimes that were committed. You will hear from law enforcement officers like Kimberly Underwood and Tyrone Dennis, whose main goal wasn't to go out in the streets and lock up people who looked like them. It was actually to touch souls in the streets, to touch young people, and to alert them of the dangers and the drawbacks of becoming a part of and becoming involved in gangs like YSL and Rock Crew. You'll hear about conversations with educators. You'll hear from members and associates of the gang itself. Now, as to how those members and associates will respond or act once they're actually in court and on the stand, that's something that I am truthfully not able to predict to you fully. But the court has given you instructions on determining and judging the credibility of the witnesses. And I trust that all of you will in fact follow those instructions. The evidence will show that YSL checks all of the boxes for being a criminal street gang. As I stated earlier, they are 3 or more people associated in fact. Their members commit crimes on behalf of the gang. They commit crimes such as armed robbery, hijacking, motor vehicle theft, theft by receiving, stolen firearms, so many stolen firearms, possession of a machine gun, and narcotic sales. And last but certainly not least, murder. What you will not hear any evidence of is that the defendants were not involved in a criminal street gang. You will not hear any evidence that they did not commit crimes on behalf of YSL. And as I stated to you earlier, what I'm saying to you now is
Let me object to that statement, please, as burden shifting.
Object basis?
Burden shifting. And under Parker versus the state at 277.
Why don't we take that up and
39.
I'll note your objection. I'm sustaining the objection. Why don't you rephrase, madam?
And let me stop it right here, guys. Yes, for anyone new coming in, we are watching the opening statements. And guys, it is terrible. It is terrible to have an objection during opening statements or closing statements. If you are going to object during an opening statement, man, it better be right. And you can tell that Glanville sustained it. So Bruce Harvey was right. Bruce Harvey, guys, y'all don't know him down here. Bruce Harvey was the Brian Steele before Brian Steele. Just an amazing, he was the #1 guy for years and years and years. And Bruce Harvey made an objection. But I want you to look, it's so rare to see an objection during opening statements. I want you to see Love. Look at Love's face. Look at her face.
And this is the first objection of the trial.
Yes. And during an opening, but she's kind of letting you know with that face. Because usually when you're talking, when there's if somebody objects to me, I'm just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But if someone objects during my opening and especially during my closing, you better not say a word. This is my time to talk to these people, right? An objection during the trial, who cares? You can make 1,000 of them, but don't object during my opening and closing. And look at Love's face. I wanted to show you her face, guys, when she heard that objection, because it's a strong fucking move.
Yeah,
to object. Even if you hear something where you're like, you usually during opening and closing, you usually let it slide. Mm-hmm. But this was such a big thing that Bruce Harvey was like, no, I don't want to let it slide. But I did want to show you Love's face. She could not believe it. Let me back it up here.
You can see the surprise.
On behalf of YSL. And as I stated to you earlier, what I'm saying to you now is
let me object.
Look at her face. So she's objecting. She looks back.
Please, it's burden.
Look at you like, what? Look at you're like, this nigga objected during my opening? She's just incredulous. Like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
You got the nerve to open your fucking mouth during my opening.
Mhm.
Right? So I mean, she's incredulous. She could be like, okay, nigga. But Bruce was right. She was trying to shift the burden from the prosecutors to the defense. So he was absolutely right. But it's a big thing, guys. I just want you to know, kind of a little behind the scenes. It's a big thing when you, as an attorney, object to another attorney during the opening or during the closing. And then that attorney might be like, I can't believe you fucking, well, I fucking did. All right. So let's take a look right here. Let's go.
Object basis?
Burden shifting.
Yeah.
And under Parker versus the state at 277.
Why don't we take that up?
39.
I'll note your objection. I'm sustaining the objection. Why don't you rephrase, madam?
And shout out to Jody. Shout out to Jody. Big corn-fed Iowa girl. That's how we love them.
I'm going to explain to you at the appropriate time, ladies and gentlemen, what the burden is in this case. Remember what I told you earlier, that the burden never shifts to the defendants to prove or certain innocence or presumed innocent. And it's only until you hear evidence that you decide is sufficient, and I'll instruct you on how you're supposed to do that at a later point in time. Okay? All right.
The evidence will show that YSL did not adhere and does not adhere to all of the customs of a traditional street gang. And the fact that YSL does not mirror all the customs of a criminal street gang, the evidence will show makes it no less a criminal street gang. The defendants on trial here today have, through their actions, displayed not only their allegiance, their alliance with one another and with the gang itself, through their actions, they have displayed an unspoken agreement to participate in that gang through a pattern of illegal activities.
Let's keep it going, but big shout out to DC. Thank
The head
you.
of this gang is seated in this courtroom too. The last paragraph of that poem that I read, spoke to you earlier, goes as follows. Because of his age and his cunning, because of his right.
This is argument. This is not
What's your objection, Mr. Harvey?
that it's argument.
Okay, Mr. Harvey, hold on. Madam, it is argument at this point in time, so
Ooh,
I'll sustain the objection, okay?
Yes, sure.
All right.
Guys, this is fucking ridiculous. This is foreshadowing. To have more, I just told you guys how rare it is to have one objection in opening. And Bruce Harvey is objecting after objecting after objecting. And these multiple objections and being sustained. And you can tell by the judge, like, what's your objection? Like, what are you doing? Hey, this is argument. She's not showing the jury what she thinks she can prove. She's just talking to these fuckers. She's just arguing. Arguing is for the closing. The opening is to orient the jury on what you expect the evidence to show. And she's not doing that. She's got her opening and her closing confused.
It's like the opening should be a roadmap of what you are going to show them. Like, it is your job to present the case and to also make sure that, hey, these guys are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So she should be laying out the lay of the land. But to your point, Lead, she's going back and forth on arguments. And both of them are so experienced. Like, Bruce Harvey knows, like, she shouldn't be doing this, you know?
100%. 100%. Shout out to the Bully Domain, says it red flags everywhere from day one. 100%. 100%. Let's take a look. It's from a very simplistic type of, it's unjust and free thug. All right, but this case is so deep, guys. Every single part is fucked up. There's not one part in this case that's not fucked up. What am I talking about? You look at the prosecution. This is what y'all see. Y'all are, lead attorney, you only practiced 20 years. Why did you retire? Espérate. Because I see it all. You guys are looking at incompetent ass chief assistant district attorney Love and Hilton. She's teaching at Emory a school of law, $70,000 a year. Imagine if Hilton, she almost caused 3 mistrials back to back to back by herself. Imagine paying $70,000 a year for her to be your law professor. Somebody write refund in the damn chat. You show up to Emory School of Law right down the street, paying 70 racks a year. Doesn't include room and board. Doesn't include food. That's just tuition. That's $210,000. So y'all are looking at these two and y'all are like, oh, it's so corrupt and mistrial. Guess what? You're right. Guys, you're right. But it doesn't stop there. Look at the judge. First, we had Glanville. Now, y'all saw Glanville. Why did Glanville just got reversed the other day? Why did he get reversed? The Supreme Court of Georgia said, this is a basic thing, Glanville, that you overlooked. You should have recused yourself after you ordered Steele to go into the holding tank. Why? Because you were too emotionally involved. Everybody who saw the damn clip saw Glanville basically screaming at him. When it gets to that point, well, you're the judge. Why are you screaming at anybody? If you are that hot, you have to remove yourself and just bring in another judge. That's basic judgeship 101. Y'all are looking at Hilton, y'all are looking at Hyatt, but there's Judge Glanville. But y'all saw Judge Glanville. Great, because you're right, it was fucked up. That's another part of the corruption of the system. We get Judge Glanville out, so the system worked, right? Who the hell comes in? Who the hell comes in? I remember when Whitaker came in and everybody was so happy. Whitaker came in. Do y'all remember her in the beginning? She was just a giggling. Oh, she just a giggling. Everybody's like, oh my God, thank you. Get this black man out. What we needed was a white woman. What is a white woman? If we can be honest, black men, what is a white woman? A white woman, everybody know a white woman is a breath of fresh air. Just go on and say, but everybody was like, thank the Lord. We have a breath of fresh air. We can start anew. You thought the white woman was going to save you. Everybody's like, oh, Lee, what do you think about Courtney Kramer? Shout out y'all writing breath of fresh air in the damn chat. Somebody write, you thought the white woman was going to save you. All these black men thinking a white woman's going to save them. I swear a month in, she was fucking these giving the state constant excuses. What did she say when Love was hiding evidence? What did she say when Hilton was hiding evidence and not turning it over to the other side? She was like, oh, well, if y'all keep doing this, I might give you guys 0 more chances. What does that mean when the judge says she might give the state 0 more chances? And we saw the very first day of court. Guys, we watched it. Some of y'all didn't see it. The very first fucking day of court, what came out? That Love did not turn over exhibits, did not turn over documents to the state. And Brian Steele was livid. Y'all saw him. He was livid. We had never seen him like that. It was the very first day. And she didn't turn over evidence. Last week, again, all through the trial, she hasn't turned over evidence. Whitaker says, oh, well, maybe 0 more chances you'll get. And then what happened a week later? It came out that there was more evidence that wasn't turned over. What did white woman Whitaker do? Did she dismiss the case? Did she say a mistrial? No. She had them watch a 1986 movie replay from the Georgia State Bar about turning over evidence. These prosecutors have been practicing for years, probably over a decade, probably 2 decades, and having to watch a 1986 movie replay on how to refresh their memory on how to turn over evidence.
You learn it the first year of law school.
The first year. And you're like, Whitaker, you ain't no fucking better. What just happened last week? The last day of court, what just happened? They're causing Hilton, her ass, causing mistrial after mistrial. The judge says, well, I'm up here trying to fix your sloppiness. I'm trying to fix your mistakes. Imagínate. Imagine you were on trial for your life and the judge is trying to fix the prosecutor's mistakes. Guys, and you don't understand. Oh my God, there is nothing that pisses you off more. I remember I had this big case and I was not going to win the case. And we showed up to court and everybody showed up. It's a calendar call and you have to show up to calendar call. And our case was fucked. All right, our case was fucked. But the other side was not showing up. And court would start at 9. And I was talking to my dude. I was like, hey, do you see your wife? And he was like, no, she hadn't showed up. And so 9 o'clock starts. And I'm like, here we go. We're on the countdown. And it's fucking 60 cases on the calendar. And so they're calling the cases. And I'm like, do you see her? Do you see her? I'm like, no, I don't see her. The courtroom is packed, standing room only. So another 30 minutes goes by. Everybody's doing their announcements. I'm like, you see her? You see her? No, I don't see her. I'm like, okay. I fucking win. They call my case. I stand up and I said, lead attorney here representing Joe Blow. We are ready. We are waiting for the call of the other side. The judge calls the other side. No response. I say, judge, I'm like, take the fuck. I got an easy day. You think I wanted to go to fucking trial? I'm just like you. I want an easy day. I thought I was like, dismiss it, motion to dismiss for lack of prosecution. For want of prosecution, the other side isn't here. What does the judge say? The judge calls out, they're not there. The judge calls the bailiff, says, bailiff, go outside and sound in the hallways. What does it mean for a bailiff to sound in the hallway? You have to say their name 3 times. So the bailiff goes into the hallways, calls out for the people 3 times because the hallway was packed. It was a shit show. No response. So I say, judge, motion to dismiss for want of prosecution. The judge says, oh, we're just going to wait until the calendar. I say, judge, I'm here. Judge, my client is here. He took off work today. You ordered us to show up at 9 o'clock. It's 9:35. We're here. The judge says, yeah, but we're just going to wait until the call. We're going to wait till the end of the calendar to see if they show up. All right. I sit down. I'm like, fuck, man, we might have to do this trial. I bet this bitch is running late. Call the calendar goes. Now it's 10:35. Now it's 10:40. Now it's 11 o'clock. Now it's 11:15. Guess what? It's 11:15. Everybody's gone. Everybody has announced and they leave. You called your case. Your case is announced. You show up, you leave. We get down to the last people. It's just me and my client there. And the judge looks at us and it says, who are you here for? Give the call, give the style of the case. The judge calls for him again. Ain't nobody in the fucking courtroom. The judge tells the other side, that tells the bailiff to go out and call in the hallway. The bailiff goes out, calls, nobody. I say, judge, again, we've been sitting here. It's 11:15 in the morning. We got here at 9. We got here just like you ordered. Motion to dismiss for want of prosecution. What does the judge do? Judge says, well, I'm just going to reset this and I'm going to just give another court date. My judge! Oh!
Oh my God.
Why?
Oh my God.
Why are you helping them? Why are you giving them another chance? Right? And this is me, guys. This is me. Imagine you being Young Thug.
Yeah. Oh.
Young Thug's rights have been violated since day one. Since day one. And now you hear that the whole freeway shit, this prosecutor Love, Attorney Hilton, she's causing mistrials. And then the judge says, well, I'm trying to fix your sloppiness. I'm trying to fix it. Guys, you can't have a court system like this. So you guys, y'all are seeing how messed up it is with Love. Great. You're seeing how messed up it is with Hilton. Great. Some of y'all saw it with Glanville. Great. Get this fucking black man out. Get the white woman in. Now the white woman's in. Y'all are like, it has to be better, right? Shout out to Courtney Kramer. Isn't that the thing? It can't get any worse, right? Now y'all are seeing the problems with Whitaker. So you got the prosecution full of problems. You got the judiciary full of problems. Let's talk about the defense. All parties in here are fucked up. Let's talk about the defense for a second. Now, you're looking at Brian Steele, right? You're looking at Brian Steele right here, right? This is what we're talking about, the defense. Certainly there can't be any problems with the defense. Certainly the defense isn't messed up. You're looking at Weinstein. You're looking at Sharp. What's the problem with the defense counsel? Well, you got Bruce Harvey, who was Brian Steele before Brian Steele, number one in Georgia. Now you got Brian Steele. But guys, let me tell you, man, for every Brian Steele, there's an attorney on the other side. Who remembers Little Woody? And who remembers Woody's attorney? Who remembers Woody's attorney? Who remembers John Melnick? What did the Supreme Court tell us about John Melnick just a few weeks ago? Said basically Melnick was stealing from his clients, right? The whole reason that this man right here, the whole reason that this man was locked up in the holding tank, incarcerated, is because Woody was represented by Melnick. Melnick didn't show up, assigned Kayla Bumpus the case, and the shit hit the fan when Kayla was there, and now they're trying to pull a fast one on Kayla. Where was Melnick? Well, shit, it doesn't really matter. The Supreme Court of Georgia suspended Melnick for 6 months. He cannot practice law right now. Tammy showed up. Tammy gave Melnick what, 15 grand on Monday. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court suspended Melnick and he could not practice law. Tammy's son is in jail and needs something filed this month. Melnick can't do it because he can't practice law. Tammy called him up the next day, said, Melnick, I paid you $15,000. Yes, you did. I paid you to represent my son. That's right. You can't represent my son because you're suspended. I know I can't. So Melnick, I need my $15,000 back. Click. Click. What the fuck? Shout out to Moontunk. Who remembers Moontunk? Moontunk is upstate right now in a Georgia penitentiary. Why? Well, he's probably at Jackson Diagnostic awaiting to go to the pen to serve his 5-year sentence. What happened with Moontunk? He was represented by defense counsel. What does the defense counsel say? His defense counsel got on the stand, raised his right hand and said, yeah, I fucked up. I fucked up. I had Moontunk sign something that he shouldn't have signed.
We didn't even get into his disciplinary stuff.
I don't even know anything about his disciplinary stuff. I just know that he said multiple times that he signed something that he didn't read. Now, it's one thing, guys, if you're going to sign a little contract for ADT system, or you're going to sign a little contract for something at home or something, and you don't even read it or whatever. We all have done it. You sign a contract at the gym But what if you are getting paid to sign a contract where a man is going to go on probation for 28 years? And if he violates it, he's going to prison. What did that man say? That man said, oh, well, you know, we worked out clause number 1 and there's a lot of back and forth. And, you know, we got that hammered down. Clause number 2, a lot of back and forth. And we read it. We was like, no, we don't want that. And there was negotiation. Clause number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so we worked it out with love. It was all good. What happened? They signed it. They didn't read that love had snuck in clause number 9. Now, Moontunk, who knows if Moontunk is literate? Woody couldn't read very well. You heard Brian Steele say Young Thug can't read very well. Who knows if Moontunk can read very well? That's why he had the attorney, right?
Yeah, and it's still his responsibility. Every single time it comes back and forth, you still have to read it. You have to make sure that it is the same that it was the night before. And if it wasn't, it was his job to catch that, call the foul, and work with them to fix it.
Yes. Yes. You know, and so, you know, you really can't say anything bad about Brian Steele, but that doesn't mean you can't say anything about defense counsel. The prosecution, full of errors. The judiciary, 2 judges, full of errors. You got the damn defense counsel, full of errors. Look at the damn court staff.